Hello, chess friends. Mike Koplitz with you with the Royal Rooks of York, Pennsylvania, USA. Bringing you another video on a lesson from this particular book and its crucial chess skills for the club player. I think it's a fantastic book. I have enjoyed every moment of it. So we're going to take a look-see at this section called Creating a New Target. And you may have heard this before. My guess is you have. You start with one target, and in this case, white is attacking f6. By the way, this is on page 162, and it's Fischer versus Gadia. And of course, white is threatening to move forward here. But not quite ready yet. It's not a fabulous move quite yet. So what I like to do is take you back to where we're starting. White has to find something else to do. The threat on the king side is definitely there. He could hook his rook pretty easily. You could see this rook moving up, the queen coming over. The pawn to f6, that would do some damage. But it's not quite yet enough. So what Fischer did was he went to create a new target by moving his rook to a1. And you just gotta love it when the board does not wish to respond. So let's make it respond, which would be a good idea. a1, there we go. Positionally, white was already ahead. d6 is a backward pawn. That's a problem. White also has one on e4, but it's not as big a problem because the pawn on e5 is blocking any rook or queen for attacking. What he's going to do is he's looking to create a target out of one of these two pawns. Now, what black does in response is he goes f6. So he's trying to stop the attack on the king side. So essentially it stopped at this particular moment. But Fischer had another really nice move in here, and that is a4. And what's interesting about this is he is going to create a target that's going to be, or could become, this this a6 pawn, which I just accidentally moved. Let me take it back. If it's pawn takes pawn, you can see how the queen and the rook now are attacking a6, and you can have a little dog pile, if you will, on the a6 pawn pretty easily. The knight sitting on d5 is in a fantastic outpost. Cannot be kicked out. There's no light-colored bishop. There's no pawn. It's attacking the bishop on e7. Bishop on e7 is kind of useless at the moment. Can't do much of anything. So we actually do have a good knight versus a bad bishop. Now, in the game, black goes rook to b8. And the game ends here very quickly with knight takes e7. Check. Now, the reason is because either the queen has got to take the knight or the king has to move, and then the knight is going to pick up this rook. So the queen takes, and here's the fork. This is why queens are so beautiful. And of course, here's what happens. Now, let's go ahead and put things back for a second. Get back here and take away these couple of moves. Go backward a little bit. Okay, here we are. So let's try a couple of things. Of course, one could do b takes a4. As such, rook takes. And now what are you going to do about this a6 pawn? It's just kind of hanging there. And you can see the computer is like, I don't know, what are we going to do here? Okay, so we'll move forward. Let's just follow the computer a little bit. This is beyond where the book goes, by the way. Thought I'd show you this. Now the queen is protecting the a5 pawn, so you can double up on it. Now, how are you going to protect? Well, you cannot move this back rook like that. That was a bad move that the computer just picked up on me, because the situation still is knight takes, right? Knight takes b7, check. Queen has to take. This rook here on c6 falls. So rook to c5. Notice white's position, positionally, look at this, 4.51. It's just getting better and better. Now the computer is saying we should go to h3. I'm not sure exactly why, but we'll go ahead with the computer. Computer know best, right? So let's move the pawn forward. And the computer's recommending bishop to f8. So I'm not sure what h3 was all about. Pawn forward. Of course, the c3 pawn is protected by the knight. A takes b4. C takes b4. c3 square is still protected, not a problem there. Rook, c4. And simply start moving the pawn forward. Rook d4. Queen b3. And you can see it's mounting. I mean, we could continue here just a little bit more. h8, we'll play what the computer tells us here for a few moments. As you can now see, white has broken into the black position. Rook to b8, b6, whoops, one move too many. The knight's protecting. What are we going to do here? And finally, black has to give up some material. Oh, definitely did not like that. Let me put that pawn back. I'm sorry, you don't want to take with the e4 pawn because you just gave e5 a pass pawn. That would be bad. So you take back with the queen. And the queen's going to pick this pawn up. Rook to a8. g6, you got to get the king moving out of there. Rook on a1 to a7. You can see what's happening here. The position is just deteriorating as quickly as possible. And now we're going to do this. This is where it finally comes down to, and we don't really need to go much further, do we? Certainly a queen versus a bishop and a few pawns. This is just going to be a mop-up operation. King up. Queen b7. Doesn't really matter. Check. Now the pawns just start dropping. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed our conversation here today, and this video has been helpful. Again, book is fantastic. Take a look at it. Also, Royal Rooks. You can find us on the internet, royalrooks.club. You can also find our club on chess.com. Take care and happy chess. I hope to see you in the next lesson.